The massive council station hung in space near Saturn's rings, its crystalline structures reflecting light in patterns that no human architect could have designed. Major Harold Norm Schwarzkopf stood at the viewport of the USS Defender, watching as the ship slowly approached the alien structure. His weathered face remained expressionless, but his mind raced with thoughts of the mission ahead. Quite the sight, isn't it, Major? Susan Miller appeared beside him. The diplomatic officer's voice held the practiced calm of someone trained to hide nervousness. Schwarzkopf nodded. Certainly makes our space stations look like tin cans. He turned to face Miller, his 6-foot frame towering over her. Remember, no matter how impressive their technology, we represent Earth as equals, not supplicants. Dr. Alan Wright joined them, the xenobiologist's eyes wide with wonder. The biological diversity on that station must be incredible. 17 species, all coexisting in one habitat. 17 species that have been watching us for centuries without introducing themselves, Schwarzkopf reminded him. That doesn't strike me as neighborly behavior. The Defender's captain announced their final approach, and the 3 representatives of humanity made their way to the docking bay. Schwarzkopf felt the familiar weight of responsibility on his shoulders. As Earth's military liaison, his job was to assess potential threats and advantages. After 30 years of military service, he trusted his instincts, and right now, those instincts were troubling him. The airlock cycled open to reveal a brightly lit corridor. 3 alien beings waited for them, one tall and willowy with iridescent skin, another squat with multiple limbs, and the third appearing almost human except for its silvery eyes and blue-tinged skin. The nearly human one stepped forward. Welcome to Harmony Station. I am Liaison Trell. Please follow me to the council chambers. The High Chancellor awaits. As they walked through corridors filled with alien technology and beings of varied forms, Schwarzkopf noticed how other species deferred to Trell's kind. Some did so naturally, but others, particularly a group of reptilian beings with elaborate neck frills, seemed to do so with reluctance. The council chamber was a vast circular room with 17 elevated platforms arranged in a tiered semicircle. At the center and highest point sat a being unlike any Schwarzkopf had ever seen. A mass of shifting translucent tissue housed in what appeared to be a liquid-filled container. The High Chancellor Zorix, Trell announced with reverence. A melodic voice filled their minds. Earth's representatives, we welcome you to the Galactic Council. For 10,000 years, we have maintained peace and prosperity among spacefaring civilizations. Today marks Earth's first step toward joining our community. Susan Miller stepped forward with a practiced smile. High Chancellor, we bring greetings from the United Nations of Earth. We are honored by this historic meeting. For the next hour, the council members took turns addressing the humans. They spoke of galactic history, of peace and cooperation, of technological wonders and biological marvels. Schwarzkopf noticed that despite the talk of equality, certain races, including Chancellor Zorix's, dominated the conversation. Finally, Zorix returned to the central issue. Earth has reached the technological threshold for consideration as a protected world within our community. This is a momentous occasion. Protected from what specifically? Schwarzkopf asked, speaking for the first time since entering the chamber. Several council members shifted uncomfortably. The Chancellor's form pulsed slightly. There are dangers in the void between stars, Major. Species that do not share our commitment to peace. Cosmic phenomena that could threaten developing worlds. And what does this protection entail? Schwarzkopf pressed. A simple arrangement, Zorix explained. Earth will dismantle its military capabilities beyond what is necessary for basic planetary defense. All advanced weapons research will cease. A council guidance team will oversee Earth's development for 3 centuries. In exchange, you will receive access to certain technologies and full protection from external threats. Susan Miller nodded thoughtfully. These terms seem reasonable, considering the benefits. 3 centuries is a long time, Schwarzkopf interrupted, and dismantling our defenses seems an unusual first step for protection. An uncomfortable silence filled the chamber until a reptilian council member spoke. The Major raises a valid concern. Perhaps we should allow Earth's representatives time to discuss among themselves. Indeed, Zorix agreed, though Schwarzkopf thought he detected annoyance in the telepathic voice. You will be shown to your quarters. We will reconvene tomorrow. As they were led away, Schwarzkopf noticed the reptilian council member watching them intently. Later, in the privacy of their assigned suite, Miller confronted him. Was that necessary, Major? Questioning the council openly like that? It's literally my job, Ms. Miller. Something doesn't add up here. Dr. Wright frowned. What specifically troubles you? If they've been watching us for centuries, why contact us now? Why insist we disarm as a first step? And did you notice how some council races barely spoke while others dominated? A soft chime interrupted them. At the door stood a council security officer. The Creel representative requests a private meeting with Major Schwarzkopf. Miller looked alarmed. That's irregular. I'll go, Schwarzkopf decided. The security officer led him through back corridors to a small, dimly lit room where the reptilian council member waited. I am Seren of the Creel, the alien said without preamble. You are perceptive for a species so new to the galactic stage. I'm just doing my job, Schwarzkopf replied. Then do it well, Seren said urgently. My world accepted protection 300 years ago. We are still waiting for the promised elevation to full council status. Schwarzkopf studied the alien carefully. You're saying the council lied? The council selectively presents truth. Protection is subjugation by another name. Once you disarm, you will never be permitted to rearm. Technologies promised will be carefully controlled. Your development will be guided towards serving council needs, not your own. Why tell me this? You're risking your position. Serene's neck frills expanded slightly. Because there is worse coming. Something the council fears, but won't name openly. They don't want allies, they want buffer worlds. A noise in the corridor made them both tense. Serene quickly pressed a small device into Schwarzkopf's hand. Data. Evidence. Study it before your people make a decision they cannot unmake. Schwarzkopf slipped the device into his pocket. Thank you. Don't thank me, Seren said grimly. If the council discovers this meeting, we both face consequences. But after observing your species, I believe humans may have what my kind lost, the will to defy unjust authority. Back in his quarters while Miller and Wright slept, Schwarzkopf examined the alien data device. The information confirmed his worst suspicions and revealed horrors he hadn't imagined. The council's protection was a sophisticated form of conquest, bloodless, but absolute. As dawn approached on the artificial day cycle of the station, Major Schwarzkopf made a decision. Humanity would not surrender its independence without knowing the full truth, no matter what it cost him personally. The Galactic Council's orders would not go unchallenged, not while he had breath in his body and evidence in his hands. Tomorrow would bring conflict, but tonight he prepared for war, not with weapons but with truth as his ammunition and independence as the prize. Major Schwarzkopf stood at attention in General Patricia Clark's office back on Earth. Sunlight streamed through the windows of the Colorado military complex, a welcome change from the artificial light of the council station. The general studied the data tablet with a deepening frown. You realize what you're suggesting, Norm? General Clark removed her glasses and rubbed the bridge of her nose. That the first advanced alien civilization to contact us is essentially lying to our faces. Not suggesting, ma'am. Reporting, Schwarzkopf replied. The evidence from Counselor Seren is clear. The Galactic Council's protection program is designed to keep emerging species permanently dependent. Clark sighed. Unfortunately, the President and Secretary General are already excited about alien technology. They're talking about clean energy, advanced medicine, faster-than-light travel, all the things the Council dangled in front of us. Gifts with strings attached, Schwarzkopf said, and we only get the outdated versions, nothing that would actually allow us to compete. I believe you, Norm, but politics is already in motion. She handed back the tablet. The Council's representatives arrived this morning. They're meeting with the UN Security Council right now. Schwarzkopf straightened. Request permission to form a special investigation team. If we can find more concrete evidence of the Council's true intentions, perhaps we can convince the leadership. Granted, but keep it quiet. Select your team carefully. General Clark's expression was grave. You have 2 weeks before the formal acceptance ceremony. After that, Council advisors will be everywhere. By nightfall, Schwarzkopf had assembled his team in a secure underground facility. Intelligence specialist Jack Rodriguez and communications expert Olivia Kim were already at work analyzing the alien data. Their encryption is advanced but not unbreakable, Olivia said, her fingers moving rapidly over her keyboard. I'm using patterns from Seren's data to create a decryption key for their broader network. Rodriguez pointed to a wall screen displaying intercepted Council communications. They're being careful about what they say around our officials, but they're less guarded when talking among themselves. What have you found? Schwarzkopf asked. They're particularly interested in our biodiversity. Rodriguez pulled up several files. One communication mentions Earth's exceptional biological resources as a priority acquisition target. Olivia looked up from her screen. I just cracked another file. Major, you need to see this. The screen filled with images of planets being systematically mined and harvested. The accompanying text detailed extraction operations on worlds under Council protection. They're not partners. They're farmers, Schwarzkopf said quietly, and we're the crop. Hours turned into days as the team worked tirelessly. They set up monitoring equipment around the Council representatives' temporary headquarters and intercepted hundreds of communications. The picture that emerged was disturbing. Sir, look at this pattern. Rodriguez pointed to a star chart with several systems marked in red. These are defense outposts the Council has established in our sector of the galaxy. They all face outward from a region of space they refer to only as Quarantine Zone Alpha. They're building a buffer, Schwarzkopf realized. But against what? Olivia's terminal beeped urgently. I've got something. A high-security communication. Between Chancellor Zorix and the Council military chief. She enhanced the audio. The Scourge's advance continues unchecked, a voice stated clinically. Simulation models indicate it will reach Earth's sector within 5 years, not the 15 previously calculated. Unfortunate, came Zorix's distinctive, melodic tones. Nevertheless, proceed with the integration protocol as planned. Earth's military capabilities are primitive but may absorb the initial incursion, buying time for proper countermeasures. Schwarzkopf's face hardened. They expect us to be cannon fodder. What is this scourge? Rodriguez wondered. Something. They're losing a war against, Schwarzkopf replied grimly, and they don't plan to tell us until it's too late. Over the next week, they gathered irrefutable evidence of the Council's deception. Earth wasn't being invited into a galactic community. It was being colonized and prepared as a sacrificial buffer. Finally, Schwarzkopf secured a meeting with the United Nations Security Council. Representatives from the world's major powers listened in shocked silence as he presented his findings. This is preposterous, the British representative said when Schwarzkopf finished. You're asking us to reject the greatest technological advancement in human history based on stolen communications that could easily be misinterpreted. I'm asking you to look at the evidence, Schwarzkopf replied evenly. The Council is using us. Major Schwarzkopf, the Chinese representative spoke carefully. Have you considered that certain parties on Earth might benefit enormously from Council technology? Several corporations have already been promised licensing agreements. Understanding, dawned on Schwarzkopf. You've been bought. That's enough, Major, the American representative said sharply. Your concerns have been noted, but the Security Council will proceed with the acceptance ceremony as planned. Outside the UN building, Schwarzkopf found General Clark waiting. Her expression told him everything. They're not going to stop this, are they? He asked. No. Too many powerful people see short-term gain. Clark handed him an envelope. These are your new orders. You're to cease all investigation activities and report to the Council Liaison Office tomorrow. They're requesting you specifically for their cultural integration team. They want to keep me where they can see me. Exactly. Clark looked around carefully before continuing in a lower voice. Norm, whatever you're planning, and I know you're planning something, I can't officially know about it. But unofficially, don't let them win without a fight. Schwarzkopf nodded once. Yes, ma'am. That night in his apartment, Schwarzkopf stared at his reflection in the bathroom mirror. 26 years of following orders, serving his country, playing by the rules. Now, for the first time, he was contemplating direct disobedience. His phone buzzed with a message from Rodriguez. Council representatives accessing military database, downloading defense grid specifications. Another message, quickly followed from Olivia. Detected encrypted transmission to Council Station. They're not waiting for the ceremony. Schwarzkopf made his decision. He typed a message to a private group of trusted officers and scientists. Eagle's Nest. Aero 600 tomorrow. Bring only what you can carry. Tell no one. He deleted the message thread, then removed the phone's battery. By morning, Major H. Norman Schwarzkopf, decorated officer, loyal soldier, and rule follower, would become something he never expected. A rebel fighting not just for his country, but for his entire species. Dawn painted the Rocky Mountains gold as 6 vehicles arrived at an unmarked access road. Major Schwarzkopf counted each arrival with growing relief. Everyone had made it. He led the small convoy through 3 security checkpoints, each manned by soldiers whose loyalty he had personally confirmed. The hidden facility, officially designated as Weather Monitoring Station 12, but nicknamed Eagle's Nest, by those who knew its true purpose, had been built during the Cold War and later upgraded for space defense research. Its existence was known to only a handful of military personnel. Welcome to your new home, everyone, Schwarzkopf announced as the team assembled in the main operations room. 24 faces looked back at him. Scientists, engineers, intelligence, officers, and combat specialists. All had chosen to follow him despite the risk to their careers and possibly their lives. Lieutenant Commander Maria Sanchez stepped forward. The tactical officer's reputation for brilliant strategy was matched only by her fierce loyalty. Sir, everyone here has been briefed on the situation, but they need to hear it from you. Schwarzkopf nodded and addressed the group. As of 600, this morning we're all officially AWOL. By noon we'll likely be labeled as traitors. He paused to let that sink in. But the real betrayal is happening in Washington, in London, in Beijing, where our leaders are surrendering humanity's future to aliens who see us as nothing but resources and cannon fodder. He activated the central display, showing the evidence they had gathered. We have 10 days until the official acceptance ceremony. Our mission is to expose the Council's true agenda and stop Earth from making a terrible mistake. Dr. Richard Lee raised his hand. The quantum physicist looked uncomfortable, in the military setting but determined nonetheless. I've been analyzing the alien technology specifications. There's something strange about their quantum communication system. It has limitations they haven't disclosed. Explain, Schwarzkopf said. Their system is designed to be one way. Earth can receive but not initiate or modify transmissions. It's a control mechanism, not the gift they're presenting it as. Can we use that knowledge somehow? Rodriguez asked. Dr. Lee smiled slightly. I believe I can reverse engineer their technology to create our own two-way system, one they can't monitor or control. Do it, Schwarzkopf ordered. Olivia, I want you working with Dr. Lee. For 3 days they worked tirelessly. Sanchez developed military contingency plans. Rodriguez and his intelligence team continued intercepting Council communications. Dr. Lee and Olivia made surprising progress with their quantum communication device. On the 4th day, they received an unexpected message through their secure channels. The sender identified himself as Seren of the Creel. I need to speak with Major Schwarzkopf immediately, the reptilian's image said. I have crucial information and an offer of alliance. After extensive security verification, Schwarzkopf authorized a direct communication link. Seren's image appeared on their main screen. Major, I am relieved to find you alive and free, Seren said. The Council discovered our meeting. They believe I failed to convince you of their benevolence, but they do not yet know what information I shared. What's your situation? Schwarzkopf asked. Precarious, I have been recalled to my homeworld, supposedly for consultation. In reality, it is to remove me from influence. Saren's neck frills expanded with emotion. But I am not alone in my concerns. Representatives from 6 other protected worlds have been in secret contact with me. We have been isolated, unable to coordinate meaningful resistance until now. You're proposing an alliance, Schwarzkopf realized. Yes, for the first time the subjugated worlds might stand together. Saren leaned closer to the camera. But we need Earth. Your species has something the rest of us have lost after centuries of council rule: defiance. We're hardly in a position to help others when we can't even convince our own leaders, Schwarzkopf said grimly. Perhaps we can help each other, Saren replied. I have the locations of council monitoring stations throughout your solar system. My allies have information about the scourge that the council has hidden even from its own members. What exactly is the scourge? Sanchez asked. That is something we must discuss when our connection is more secure, Saren said. The council has developed sophisticated methods for detecting certain keywords. Dr. Lee stepped forward. We're developing a quantum communication system they can't monitor. Give us 2 more days. The next 48 hours passed in a blur of activity. When they finally established the new communication network, 7 alien representatives joined their conference, each from a different protected world, each confirming the council's pattern of exploitation. The council maintains power by keeping us divided, explained Zana, a gaseous being from a world that had been under protection for over 800 years. Each world believes it alone is treated unfairly, while others prosper. It's the oldest tactic in the book, Schwarzkopf said. Divide and conquer. Now about the scourge, Rodriguez prompted. The aliens shared their knowledge. The scourge wasn't a hostile species as Earth's leaders had been led to believe. It was a natural phenomenon, a wave of exotic particles moving through the galaxy that disrupted certain technologies, particularly those the council races relied upon most heavily. The council races evolved in regions where these particles were rare, explained Dren, a crystalline being. Their biology and technology are vulnerable. They use protected worlds as buffers, sacrificial zones to absorb the wave while they develop countermeasures. And they specifically choose worlds with robust biodiversity, added Saren. Because, after the scourge passes, they harvest the surviving species to enhance their own genetic resilience. Schwarzkopf felt cold anger building. They're not just exploiting us, they're planning to use us as lab rats and then harvest the survivors. How do we fight this? Sanchez asked. Our own governments won't listen. Schwarzkopf studied the determined faces around him, human and alien alike. We need to show Earth's people the truth in a way no one can deny or cover up. And we need to demonstrate that humanity is stronger outside the Council's protection than within it. A proximity alarm suddenly blared. Rodriguez rushed to the security station. Multiple helicopters approaching, military signatures. They found us, Schwarzkopf said. Everyone to your evacuation positions, grab only essential equipment. As the team rushed to action, Schwarzkopf turned to the alien representatives on the screen. We'll contact you when we're secure. If you don't hear from us within 48 hours, we will know that Earth has fallen, Saren said solemnly. But I do not believe that will happen, Major. Your species has survived countless threats throughout your history. Perhaps you will be the ones to finally break the Council's power. As the sounds of helicopters grew louder, Schwarzkopf made a silent promise. This was no longer just about Earth's independence. It was about freedom for every species trapped in the Council's web of lies. Whatever happened next, the Galactic Council's days of unchallenged rule were coming to an end. 3 days after their narrow escape from Eagle's Nest, Schwarzkopf's team regrouped in an abandoned mining facility deep in the Nevada desert. They had split into smaller groups during the evacuation, using pre-arranged meeting points to avoid detection. Most had made it safely, though 2 team members were confirmed captured. The government has officially labeled us domestic terrorists, Rodriguez reported, his face grim as he showed Schwarzkopf the news feeds. They're claiming we stole classified technology and are planning to sabotage the Council acceptance ceremony. Technically, they're not wrong, Schwarzkopf said with a hint of dark humor. We did take the quantum communication device. Dr. Lee looked up from his workstation where he and Olivia had rebuilt their equipment. And we absolutely plan to sabotage their ceremony. Lieutenant Commander Sanchez spread a digital map across the main table. The ceremony is scheduled for 6 days from now at the United Nations headquarters in New York. Security will be unprecedented. Council guards, UN peacekeepers, and military units from at least 12 nations. We can't fight through that, Rodriguez said. Even if we could, it would only validate their claims that we're terrorists. Schwarzkopf studied the map thoughtfully. We're not going to fight. We're going to broadcast the truth in a way no one can ignore. He turned to Dr. Lee. How's our communication network with the other resistance worlds? Stable and secure, Lee confirmed. We've connected with all 7 worlds Saren introduced us to. Good. Contact them immediately. It's time to implement Operation Independence Day. Over the next 72 hours, the team worked without rest. The alien resistance leaders agreed to Schwarzkopf's audacious plan, simultaneous uprisings on multiple protected worlds to divide the Council's attention and forces. Meanwhile, Dr. Lee and Olivia prepared the most crucial technical element, a system to hijack the Council's own communication network. The beauty of this, Olivia explained as she finalized the code, is that we're using their own technology against them. When they activate the global broadcast for the acceptance ceremony, we can piggyback on their signal. Will they be able to shut it down? Schwarzkopf asked. Not quickly, Lee said confidently. Their system wasn't designed with security against itself in mind. By the time they realize what's happening, the evidence will already be broadcasted, worldwide. What about the moon relay? Sanchez asked. That's still the weak point in the plan. Schwarzkopf nodded. That's why I'll lead the lunar team personally. The Council had established their primary Earth communication relay on the moon shortly after first contact. The facility was lightly guarded, as the Council believed its location provided sufficient security. They hadn't counted on human determination. 2 days before the ceremony, Schwarzkopf and a small team including Sanchez and Rodriguez boarded a modified military shuttle. Their departure from a remote launch facility in Arizona went undetected. Thanks to stealth technology, Dr. Lee had enhanced using principles gleaned from Council designs. The journey to the moon took 18 tense hours. As they approached the dark side, Schwarzkopf observed the Council facility through the shuttle's viewport, a gleaming silver structure that stood out starkly against the lunar landscape. Remember, he told his team as they prepared for EVA, we need control of the main transmission array for at least 30 minutes. Non-lethal force only against Council personnel. The assault on the lunar relay facility went exactly as Sanchez had planned. The small contingent of Council guards was unprepared for the determined team of humans who breached their airlock. Within 20 minutes, Schwarzkopf's team had secured the control room. Facility secure, Sanchez reported. No casualties on either side. Rodriguez immediately began downloading data from the Council systems. Major, you need to see this, he said urgently. They've accelerated their timetable. The acceptance ceremony isn't just symbolic. Earth's representatives are scheduled to sign an emergency integration protocol that gives the Council immediate control of our military and defense systems. They know about the Scourge's acceleration, Schwarzkopf realized. They're not even pretending anymore, they're seizing control. There's more, Rodriguez continued, his voice tight with anger. I've found their post-Scourge harvesting plans for Earth. They've already cataloged which human populations they consider to have the most useful genetic traits. Get all of it, Schwarzkopf ordered. Every file, every plan, every communication. This ends today. Olivia's voice came through their comms from Earth. Lunar team, we're ready on our end. The resistance forces on the other worlds are in position as well. They're awaiting your signal. Schwarzkopf checked the time. The ceremony begins in 40 minutes. Patch me through to all resistance groups. On the main screen, the faces of 7 alien resistance leaders appeared alongside Olivia and Dr. Lee. Schwarzkopf took a deep breath. Today we take back our futures, he told them. Some of us may not survive what comes next, but our worlds will have a chance at true independence. The Council has maintained power through deception and division. We answer with truth and unity. The alien leaders each acknowledged their readiness. Seren spoke last. His neck frills extended in a Creel expression of resolve. Whatever happens, Major, know that you have already achieved something unprecedented. You've given hope to worlds that had forgotten what hope feels like. As the acceptance ceremony began on Earth, broadcasts around the world suddenly cut to Schwarzkopf's face. People of Earth, he said, his voice calm but forceful. I am Major Harold Schwarzkopf. The Galactic Council has lied to us. They don't offer protection, they offer subjugation. What follows is evidence taken directly from their own files. For the next 20 minutes, people across Earth watched in stunned silence as the Council's true plans unfolded before them. The exploitation of resources, the use of Earth as a buffer against the scourge, the cataloging of human genetic material for post-disaster harvesting. Simultaneously, resistance forces on 7 protected worlds launched their coordinated actions, seizing Council facilities and broadcasting the same evidence to their populations. The Council's carefully maintained system of isolated control began to crumble. In the UN General Assembly, chaos erupted. Council representatives rushed to contact their superiors while Earth's leaders demanded explanations. The signing ceremony collapsed into confusion and outrage. From the lunar control room, Schwarzkopf watched the scenes unfolding on Earth with grim satisfaction. Phase 1 of Operation Independence Day was complete. Now came the dangerous part, holding their position long enough to implement Phase 2. Incoming spacecraft, Rodriguez warned, checking the sensors. Multiple Council vessels approaching from Earth orbit. ETA 12 minutes. Right on schedule, Schwarzkopf said. He turned to his team, determination in his eyes. Prepare for Phase 2. We're about to capture ourselves a Council flagship. The Council flagship Eternal Harmony hung in Earth's orbit like a gleaming silver dagger. Nearly a mile long, it dwarfed the lunar shuttle that approached it. Schwarzkopf studied the massive vessel through the viewport, revising their attack plan in his mind. Boarding team ready, Sanchez reported. Sanchez. Remember, Schwarzkopf told the 6 soldiers with them. We need control of the command center intact. Once inside, we follow Lieutenant Commander Sanchez's lead exactly. Incoming transmission, Rodriguez said. They're ordering us to identify ourselves. Schwarzkopf nodded. Send the response we prepared. Rodriguez transmitted the forged Council security codes they had extracted from the lunar facility's database. Tense seconds passed before the flagship responded. They're directing us to Docking Bay 3, Rodriguez said, unable to hide his surprise. The codes worked. For now, Schwarzkopf cautioned. Once we're aboard, we'll have minutes at most before they realize something's wrong. The lunar shuttle glided into the designated docking bay. As soon as they connected to the flagship's airlock, Schwarzkopf's team moved with practiced precision. Sanchez led the first group through, securing the immediate area. Schwarzkopf followed with the second team. 3 Council security officers appeared at the far end of the corridor. Before they could react, Rodriguez fired specialized stun weapons developed by Dr. Lee. The aliens dropped without a sound. Move, Schwarzkopf ordered. They advanced through the ship's gleaming corridors, encountering minimal resistance. Most of the crew was focused on the chaos unfolding on Earth and the other rebelling worlds. Using the ship schematics downloaded from the lunar facility, they made their way toward the command center. Too easy, Sanchez muttered as they approached their target. They never expected an attack on their flagship, Schwarzkopf replied. Especially, not from primitives like us. The command center doors slid open to reveal a dozen Council officers from various species. At the center stood a tall, silver-skinned being that Schwarzkopf recognized as Admiral Vex, the Council's military commander. Humans, Vex said, sounding more annoyed than alarmed. Your rebellion is already failing. Council forces are suppressing the disturbances on all affected worlds. We're not here to surrender, Schwarzkopf said, stepping forward. We're here to access your database. Vex's silver eyes narrowed. You've caused quite enough trouble, Major Schwarzkopf. Chancellor Zorix is most displeased. I live to disappoint, Schwarzkopf replied. He gestured to Rodriguez, who connected a device to the command center's main console. "We're taking control of this ship." Vex laughed, a strange metallic sound. "Impossible. The security protocols are being overridden as we speak," Rodriguez interrupted. "Thanks to the access codes we obtained from your lunar relay." Data began streaming across the screens as Rodriguez bypassed the ship's security. Schwarzkopf kept his weapon trained on Vex. "Tell your crew to stand down. No one needs to get hurt." The command center doors suddenly hissed open. Chancellor Zorix's containment unit floated into the room, flanked by 4 armed guards. "Major Schwarzkopf," the Chancellor's melodic voice filled their minds. "Your actions have disrupted centuries of careful planning. Millions may die because of your interference." "Millions would have died anyway," Schwarzkopf replied. "The difference is that now they'll die fighting for their freedom instead of as sacrifices for your survival." "You don't understand what you're facing," Zorix said. "The Scourge is a wave of exotic particles that disrupts your technology and biology but may affect humans differently," Schwarzkopf finished. "We know. We also know you've been lying about it to maintain control." Rodriguez looked up from the console. "I've got it, Major. Complete access to their database, including all information on the Scourge." Schwarzkopf nodded. "Send it to Dr. Lee immediately." On Earth, in their Nevada base, Dr. Lee and Olivia received the transmission. "My God," Lee breathed as he analyzed the data. "The Council has been studying the Scourge for thousands of years, and they're right about one thing. It's catastrophic for their species." "But not necessarily for humans," Olivia said, pointing to a particular set of data. "Look at these simulations. Our technology is more resilient because it's less advanced, and our biology—" Her eyes widened. "We might actually have natural resistance to the particle effects." Meanwhile, aboard the flagship, the standoff continued. More Council security forces had arrived outside the command center, but they couldn't enter without risking their leaders. "You've made your point, Major," Zorix said. "But what is your endgame? You cannot defeat the entire Council. Even with rebellions on multiple worlds, our forces still vastly outnumber yours." "We don't need to defeat you," Schwarzkopf replied. "We just need to expose you. Every protected world now knows the truth, and we've just transmitted your complete data on the Scourge to Earth's scientists." Admiral Vex stepped forward angrily. "You've doomed yourselves. Without our guidance, your world will be devastated when the Scourge arrives." A new voice spoke from the doorway. "Perhaps it is the Council that requires guidance." Schwarzkopf turned to see a group of Council representatives led by Seren of the Creel. Behind them stood Council security forces, but they made no move to interfere. "What is the meaning of this?" Zorix demanded. "A vote has been taken," Seren announced. "The Alliance, worlds as we now call ourselves, have joined with representatives from 12 Council races. The old Council leadership is hereby dissolved." "This is treason," Vex shouted. "This is evolution," Seren replied calmly. "Major Schwarzkopf has shown us that unity and honesty offer better protection than deception and exploitation." Schwarzkopf lowered his weapon slowly. "Seren, how did you get here?" "When your broadcast reached my world, our people rose up faster than we anticipated. Many Council members stationed there sided with us." Serene's neck frills expanded in what Schwarzkopf now recognized as a smile. "It seems we were not the only ones tired of the old ways." A communication alert sounded. General Clark's face appeared on the main screen. Behind her stood Earth military officers and government officials from multiple nations. "Major Schwarzkopf," she said formally, "you and your team are hereby pardoned by joint resolution of the United Nations Security Council." A slight smile crossed her face. It seems defying orders was the right call after all. 1 year later, Schwarzkopf stood on the observation deck of the newly commissioned Galactic Alliance headquarters in Earth orbit. The station, built with technology shared freely among all member worlds, represented something unprecedented, a true partnership of equals. General Schwarzkopf, Seren approached, now wearing the insignia of the Alliance Diplomatic Corps. "The Final preparations for the Scourge research mission are complete. The ship departs tomorrow. Schwarzkopf nodded. And Earth status? The Alliance Council has confirmed it. Full member status with all rights and responsibilities. Seren's voice held genuine respect. Your world has contributed more in 1 year than many contributed in centuries under the old regime. Together they looked out at Earth, beautiful and blue against the blackness of space. In the distance, they could see the faint outline of a massive shield array, a joint project designed to mitigate the Scourge's effects when it arrived in 3 years. Was it worth it? Seren asked quietly. The risk, the rebellion, the lives lost? Schwarzkopf thought of the friends who hadn't survived, the battles fought both on Earth and across the stars. He thought of the old council's plans and what would have happened had they succeeded. Freedom is always worth fighting for, he said finally. Not just for one world, but for all worlds. As ships from a dozen different species moved through space around them, carrying representatives of a new galactic order built on truth rather than deception, Schwarzkopf allowed himself to believe that perhaps this time humanity had found its proper place among the stars, not as subjects but as equals, not as victims of history but as shapers of the future. And it had begun with one simple act of defiance.